Hello, welcome to CLSP Politics. Sean Briscoe speaking. Today we're in June 2nd, technically in the primary calendar, and we're looking at New Jersey. So let's get to work. So New Jersey is a very compact state. I mean, I'm used to working in Texas. I've worked congressional districts many times the size of New Jersey. So the population density is really, really, really high, and these are the states where field programs, knocking on doors, stuff I talk about a lot on my channel, really, really work. And we're seeing that when you see a lot of young candidates get through in New York, New Jersey, and up the New England area overall. It's because they are doing field work. They're knocking on doors, talking to people, saying, "Hey, what are your top 3 issues?" Um, give you an idea, when when you do a phone poll and you get like 1,500 responses, that's incredible. I've seen national polls with under 800 responses. When we do a field program, we'll get, in 1 month, probably 3,000 responses, 4,000 responses, which means that the data that we're collecting, for one, is many, many times that of a normal phone poll and will be way more accurate. And not just accurate on the response rate, and I'm not sorry, the responses, but for a fact who you're talking to. So when you're in your data and you go, "Oh, I'm looking for a Hispanic gentleman at 67 named Miguel, whatever." Knock, knock, knock. 60-something-year-old Hispanic gentleman walks up and go, "Hi, Miguel," and he'll go, "Hi." I'm like, well, now you've just confirmed without a shadow of a doubt that this is actually the person you're talking to. That's so these young candidates go in there with better data than what these I would say incumbent candidates are walking in with in these kind of states. And we're seeing in Mamdani and a few other places, we're seeing just they're doing better because they're relying on more reliable data, I think. And their messaging, of course, is probably better, and they're young and dynamic and all that other good stuff. But it all starts with how much information are you really gathering, and in these kinds of states, it really does work. So when we look at New Jersey, we see that it's blue, very blue. It's got 2 red spots, a light red spot, and then the rest of it's just very, very blue. And what's really interesting, you can see the city of New Jersey as it cuts right through the middle of the state. This is actually part of a much larger image that goes from Boston, New York, New Jersey. Just it's this huge monolithic city that just goes on forever. It's what DFW to San Antonio will one day look like. It's what, like, before, when you would go from like Austin to San Antonio, there weren't any lights when you would fly over. Now you can see all the lights. So eventually there are other places in the United States that do this, where you're driving out of a city, but you don't actually even leave. You're looking around, it's still city. And then you drive into another city and you don't really feel like you ever actually left the city. That's what this is. So lots of high density residential, a lot of commercial, and a lot of single family housing. But I always tell you guys, don't just look at the red and the blue, look at the white, because that's the 50-50 land. That's the battleground areas. And even in those red areas, there's a lot of white. It's a lot of places that are 50-50. And if we look at where the minorities are versus where the cities are, I mean, it's almost exactly a mirror image. It's really kind of interesting when you look at it like this, because you're able to see where communities and minority communities are and how they, cities are the machines that drive the economy. And if you ever need to win an argument about minorities in this country are the economic machine, just show them this. This will do it every time. All right, let's look at the districts by district, right? Like, who's red, who's blue, yada yada. Well, obviously 2 and 4 are very, very red, and 7 is 51-47. So we'll call it light, light, light pink. And the reason I like to look at this is because what you're going to see is these really close districts, the ones that are, uh, a few points, are the ones that are probably going to flip this coming cycle, because just not having Trump on the ballot initially, anyway, right off the top, gives the Democrats an extra 3 to 4 points. So right there, that puts 7 in play hard. And then if you run a good field program, reach out to the people, talk about issues that people care about. Oh my God, it's a miracle. You're probably going to win your race. It's kind of how this whole thing works. Okay, real quick, here's my pitch. Welcome. This is CLSB Politics. I'm on YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Substack. If you'd like to donate to this channel, there's a Facebook page on my YouTube. There's a link that you can go to. And it's CLSB Politics. Try and keep it simple. If you'd like to join my Substack community, where you're going to see interviews of candidates and different programs and shared papers, well, that's going to be on my paid Substack, and then eventually it'll come out over my it'll come over, but it'll be weeks later. You'll be behind a few weeks based on everyone who's actually on my paid Substack. Then you can go to my Substack at CLSB Politics. If you're more on Instagram and you're seeing this for the first time, definitely go check out my YouTube. It's for the longer programs. I tend to put my shorts on Substack. Shorts on Instagram, TikTok. Blue Sky also has my long programming. Definitely worth checking out. All right, let's get back to the program. Let's talk about districts, right? Because this is where the meat hits the machine, right? So Congressional District 2. I'm only picking the districts that are competitive-ish, that have multiple candidates running. What we have here in District 2 is a Republican incumbent, Jeff Van Drew, and I think every Republican incumbent in any northeastern state are probably in trouble. There's a huge commuting population. Federal shutdown is going to affect this district big time. You've got healthcare issues. You've got SNAP. You've got a million things that are going to hit this Republican from 9 different directions. If you're a Republican incumbent, you got a problem. And District 2 is a pretty solidly marginal Republican seat, but I'd bet dollars to donuts he's going to have a problem. And he's already got Bailey Winder, who's a Democratic candidate. This is as of September, so this is a few months ago, right? Already at $200,000 raised. And Jeff Van Drew is only sitting at $1 million, so he's probably raised another $300,000 since then. So he's at maybe 1.5. Well, Bailey Winder's not gonna be at 200. Bailey's gonna be, $1 million campaign. I mean, this is what Bailey's campaign did in September. So no one was even paying attention, right? So now it's going to be an interesting new switch to see what this math really starts to look like, and see, it's a bigger district, but still relatively small. It's going to be all high density residential and residential. So my advice to Bailey is, put a field program together. Find some experts that can do that. I happen to be one. You can go to my website, but find somebody. You will see dividends, guaranteed. District 3, Democrat incumbent, only sitting on $300,000. Nothing crazy there. Probably has surely raised more by the December deadline, of course. And Linda McMahon. Mahon, McMahon. Oh, sorry about that. Nothing. I couldn't find anything on FEC reports on her. So I would say that Herbert's sitting pretty good. So District 4, again, a Republican incumbent. Got two Democrats running, but I could not find any campaign finance data. This, of course, is a pretty red New Jersey district, but I wouldn't write it off. He's only sent up $402,000. Sounds like a lot of money. It's not. Any John or Julie get any real money on this game campaign, and you're going to see some real movement. District 5. So if you ever want to know what a candidate and a Democratic incumbent who's not going anywhere looks like, yeah, Josh isn't going anywhere. District 5 is $9.3 million. Yeah. For one thing, it's hard to raise money against that amount of money. As a Texan, we run into this problem all the time because your Republican opponents always have like 10 to $1 to you. So even if you've got a chance and you've got a good strategy and you've got great messaging and you know the path exists to win, you'll never raise the money against it. Nobody wants to run against that kind of money. 9.3 is what we call a settling amount for this campaign, for this cycle. So Josh not going anywhere. Again, check out my other locations where you can find my information. Substack and Facebook both have ways that you can donate to this page. Super appreciated. District 6. Okay, so this one's a little bit interesting, but not really. You still have a Democrat, 3.2 million. Really not going anywhere. We'll have to see what the next finance campaign reports look like in this race, but looking pretty settled. District 7. This is what we call a crowded field. District 7 has a lot going on. And when you break down the money in it, you've got a Republican incumbent, Thomas Keene Jr., who is definitely in trouble. You've got two, this is September, right? You got two Democratic candidates that are both almost at $1 million, right? Now they're going to have a primary and all that jazz. But what this tells me is there's a lot of Democratic money interested in this campaign, in this district. This would be a flip that would not surprise me. And when we go back to look at what District 7's math looks like, and I'll do that really quick. Oh, there we go. So we go back to 7. You see it's 47% Dem, 51% Republican. And remember, I told you there's like a 3-point rule for Trump, right? When he's not on the ballot, there's a 3-point switch there. So 7, which is surrounded by nothing but blue, is definitely one of the ones that's going to flip. So as we get closer to 7's race, we're going to see this all play out. And Bennett's raising massive money. Varela's raising massive money. O'Rourke is doing fine. Tina Shaw is looking great. Michael Roth is doing fine. You can run these races. I mean, if you've got the right candidate with the right message, using the money in the right way where you're getting the best ROI, return on investment, which is field, you'd be surprised what some of even these candidates are only at 300,000, 200,000 can do with that kind of money. You can knock on the right 100,000 doors and it's game on, especially in a primary. So, yeah, this is the race to watch in New Jersey, in my opinion. District 9, after coming off 7 and 8, of course, didn't have anything going on really. That's why I'm skipping the districts that don't really have much going on. You're looking at a $1.1 million, the Republicans raised enough money to get a website and some logos and probably some push pieces and stuff. But yeah, I think that one's pretty cooked. District 11, kind of open. I mean, this is all the information I can find on it, and doesn't super make a whole lot of sense to me, except I just think people weren't raising money very early in this race. But Jeffrey Grazel seems to be to have the monetary advantage. This is one that's we're not really going to know much until just well, December's the cutoff, but early January is when they're going to post the information. So District 11 is also worth watching because it's unclear as to what's really going to go on down there. So that's one we're going to keep our eye on. District 12, also very weird. The Democratic incumbent got like 100K, you know. Again, I want to see what these numbers look like in January. But this is a June election, June primary. So even in January, they got 6 months of campaigning. And keep in mind, I'm in Texas, so we have our primary in March. And I'm doing these in chronological order. So these guys have like an extra 3 months of campaigning that in primaries that we don't have in Texas. But we have an extra 3 months of general election that they don't have in New Jersey. So it's an interesting, each state has a very interesting calendar, and you have to understand and respect how to operate in that calendar. So, well, thanks for watching. I hope this was informative. This is part of course, my primary series where I'm going through every state, looking at all the finance reports and looking at what the races kind of look like right now to show us what 2026, which is going to be nuts, is going to really look like. So if you have a chance, check me out on YouTube, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, Substack. If you're thinking about running for office, go to my website, clsbpolitics.com. You can email me at sean@clsbpolitics.com, and we can start a conversation. All right. Well, I hope everyone's having a great day. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.